Hello, it's Stu here from DIYmusic.co.uk with a brand new FL Studio tutorial. This time I'm going to do a basic introduction to the FPC or Fruity Pad Controller, which is a stock plugin that you get with FL Studio. First of all, I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who's commented and liked and shared my videos so far. I've been doing it a couple of months now. I've been getting some really good feedback, so I'm going to keep those going. And please do keep giving me feedback. Let me know what I can do next and what I'm not doing very well. And I just very much appreciate it. Enough of that. I'll get on and show you the FPC. So it's, like I say, it's a stock Fruity Loops plugin, which can be found in the list here, FPC. And it looks like this. So what you basically got are two banks of 16 pads, and each of these pads can be loaded up with one or more samples, which can be triggered by hitting the pads, the piano roll, or something like this MPK Mini, which has little pads, or you can use the keys. And it can be used for a number of purposes. I tend to use it for a drum kit. So rather than using your step sequencer here, I like to use the piano roll because you've got a lot more control and a lot more editing ability in the piano roll. So if you load up your drum kit in here, you can then program all your drums in the piano roll. So let's get on with it and load up some drums. So it's very easy. I've got a few samples here. I'm going to use this Anno Domini drum kit, which is from Producer's Choice, I think. And we'll find a kick first. So you find the kick you want and literally drag and drop into the pad that you want. And now that is playing that kick. So we'll have maybe another kick and load up a snare. There we go. And we'll just add a hi-hat. I'm going to keep it simple for this video because I'll probably go into a bit more detail in some videos as we go on. So there we have 4 samples all loaded up into our FPC. Now, as mentioned, you can control those with a MIDI controller. And if you want to trigger them, you have to play the note which is specified here. So the MIDI note, click on the pad and it'll tell you which note triggers it. Here it's saying G#3. You can change that by clicking on it. You can set it to any MIDI note you want, or you can learn and it will pick up the next one you hit. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to hit learn. Just hit the first pad and there you go. If I do that for all of them, there you go. So now I've linked my pads to my FPC, which is really cool. So you can use that live if you wanted to. It's velocity sensitive as well, so it should. I'm not sure about velocity. No, it's just coming straight through without any velocity. So if I had a velocity sensitive controller, it would pick up the velocity and trigger the sample at the relevant volume. In this case, it's quite good it's not doing that because I've got a nice regular volume on all my drums. So there you go. That's the basic assigning of drums pads to MIDI. But as I mentioned, you also can control that with your piano roll. And very handily, it has labeled the notes with the name of the pad. You can change that here. Just right click, call that kick 1. It automatically changes it here, which is really handy. So now if you wanted to create a drum loop, just do it as you would in the piano roll. Let's see what kind of speed we I'm just going to come up with some sort of random boring drum beat just to show you how it works. And there you go. I mean, that is the most simple use of the FPC kit. Assigning samples, trigger them with a piano roll or with your MIDI controller. Oops. I thought something was funny there. My hat's off a little bit. There you go for starters. Now I'll show you one more thing, which is very useful, which is when it comes to running this through your mixer. So first of all, the FPC kit itself can be assigned to a mixer track as any other instrument. So we'll assign it to track number 2 for now, because I think that's my next free one. Yeah. So now everything will run through that track. That's pretty cool, but what if you wanted to EQ your snare differently or add a bit of reverb to your snare or your percussion or something like that? If that was the case, you do have the opportunity to output your drums to different mixer tracks, which is really useful. So, for example, we wanted the snare to go to a different mixer track. We'd select it by clicking on it. And then by here where it says output, that is offset number. So 1 will send that sample to your current mixer track plus 1. So that's going to be 2 plus 1, which is 3. I'll just check. And there you see the snare is now coming through that track, which means I can add like something. Let's get a delay on there. And you can do that a number of times. So theoretically, you could split every sample to a different mixer track, but have them all controlled from one piano roll, from one instrument. So maybe stick my hi-hat with an offset of 2. I'll have it coming out here. So maybe have a bit of EQ on that. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I think that gives us a good introduction to the FPC. There are a number of other things you can do with it. It's really versatile. Like I said, you can layer samples, so you can have more than one. You can have samples triggered at different velocities. You can have the whole envelope here, which is the kind of like volume envelope, which allows you to have change the attack and the sustain and the release. There are a bunch of other cool things you can do. I'm not going to get into it all right now. I think that's a good introduction to the FPC. If you've got any questions, of course, you can ask me below the video on YouTube. You can comment on the page on my website, or you can come and ask me on Facebook at just to sort of look for the links below the video or on my page. And yeah, go have fun with that. Ask me any questions. Give me any tips that you might have, and enjoy FL Studio. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.